thank you, fellow citizens, for your participation in this very important democratic forum. In this election, Canadians will choose between the clear, principled leadership of Stephen Harper and the opportunism that forced this unnecessary $400 million election. Between a stable Conservative government and a reckless coalition, you can choose between a low-tax plan for jobs and growth and a high-tax agenda that will stall our recovery, will kill jobs, and will set you and your family members back. Over the past 5 years, our government has taken action on the priorities of people like you who work hard, play by the rules. We're steering our country through the worst global recession since the 1930s. We're creating jobs now and building a bright future for our children and our grandchildren. We're supporting our men and women in uniform by providing them with the equipment they need to do their jobs. We're defending our national sovereignty. We're standing up for our history and traditions. We're putting the rights of victims and law-abiding citizens ahead of the interests of criminals. And we're taking action on issues of concern unique to each region of the country. Canada is emerging from the global recession as one of the world's top-performing economies. Throughout the crisis of the past 2 years, you can look at the publications and the literature and the people pointing at the example, the good example that Canada has provided. Through our economic action plan, we're making the necessary investments to protect Canadians and to create jobs now while laying a strong foundation for long-term economic growth. We have a low-tax plan that is creating jobs right here in Provencher, and now is not the time for instability or for reckless, opportunistic experiments. The global economy remains fragile. Canadians remain concerned about their jobs and their children's future. Our government has a plan to meet these challenges, a plan that is working. We need to stay that course. Our low-tax plan for jobs and growth includes the practical security of Canadian workers, seniors, and families. The average Canadian family of 4 is paying approximately $3,000 less in taxes than when we took office in 2006. If re-elected, our government will reintroduce and implement the next phase of Canada's economic action plan. If you choose to re-elect me on May 2nd, I will continue to implement your priorities. I want to thank you for your support, for your encouragement, and I look forward to serving you in the future if you choose, in fact, to re-elect me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Taves. Mr. Reimer.
Thank you again. In my opening remarks, you remember that I talked about the fact that the CHP of Canada wants to stand on guard for Canada, and I'm sure that most of us gathered here this evening also would echo that same sentiment. We're the only political party in Canada that stands for the sanctity of life. Not only do we embrace the preamble to our Constitution, but we also are the only political party that's willing to take a courageous stand in defense of the most defenseless in our society, the unborn children. We do not honor God when we allow over 100,000 abortions in Canada every single year, and then publicly honor Henry Morgentaler as a mass murderer with the Order of Canada. Shame on us. Just think that since abortions have become legal in Canada, an entire generation of over 3 million Canadians has been wiped out. That represents the entire population of Manitoba and Saskatchewan killed in a span of 25 years. That's hard to imagine. Think of the tremendous potential, an entire future generation needlessly and inhumanely destroyed. No political party has the moral conscience to address this moral issue. Only the CHP Canada believes in the sanctity of life and that all life is sacred from conception to natural death. We also support the sanctity of marriage, which is God's definition of marriage, the voluntary joining together of one man with one woman at the exclusion of all others. We also support the sanctity of the family, that strong, healthy families will strengthen the fabric of our society and keep Canada strong and free. These are some of the same reasons why we sing our national anthem in the Christian Heritage Party, and we mean what we say when we say, God keep our land glorious and free. I'm here as a candidate for the Christian Heritage Party tonight in Provence because I believe that there is a noble cause that is worth living for, fighting for, and for that matter, even dying for. When I look at my family, my parents, and the values that they stood for, and the biblical principles that they instilled in me, and when I look at my children and the young families of Canada today, I wonder if my generation has done enough to pass on our Christian heritage with confidence to them. And finally, I consider my precious grandchildren. I am absolutely determined to leave a lasting legacy of the moral value system that I believe in and embrace. We need more Christian ambassadors in Ottawa, not just politicians. We need men and women of courage who will speak the truth with conviction and not compromise on faith issues. We need to have a fear of God and not a fear of man. We need to honor God if we expect Him to keep our land glorious and free. The last verse of O Canada says this, Ruler supreme, who hearest humble prayer, hold thy dominion in thy loving care. Help us to find, O God, in thee a lasting rich reward as waiting for the better day we ever stand on guard. On May the 2nd, I appreciate your support and your prayer, and I would be honored and humbled to be able to serve Provence as your Member of Parliament. Thank you for your time, and thank you for honoring the democratic process by being here tonight. You've been a great audience. I salute you.
Thank you. Liberals are the responsible, progressive, centrist choice for Canadians. In this election, the choice in Provence and for Canada is clear. A vote for a Liberal government will defend public health care and help families right now with the cost of college and university, child care, family care, retirement savings, and energy and green renovations. The Conservatives will only help well-off families 5 years from now, after making them wait at the back of the line behind billions in spending on tax cuts for the banks and the big corporations, fighter jets, and jails. Mr. Layton has promised $70 billion in new spending, using money we don't know where it will come from. He's already admitted under his plan that he signed just a week ago or so that he can't pay for his environmental promises, or his plan to hire new doctors or nurses, or his commitment to get rid of the Senate, which the House of Commons isn't able to do. We do need Senate reform, but you're not going to do it this way. The Liberal Party can strengthen families right now without raising your taxes, something that the Conservatives and NDP can't offer to Provence people or to Canadians. Canadians want change, and on May the 2nd, I will vote for me. Our plan, as I pointed out, the summary is there. We work this plan together with Canadians for Canadians. We talk about getting rid of waste, and we've had terrible examples of waste over this Conservative government. The G8, G20, $1 billion in 72 hours. The Auditor General report has been held up by the NDP. Just prior to this House falling, there is a request by the Liberals that in the event the House would fall, that the AG's report would be made public. It didn't happen. And we're not going to see this report until the House convenes with a new Parliament. We've got an untendered jet plan out there right now, $30 billion in rising. We've got a government, and the Prime Minister Harper, who says that he's not willing to accept as officials or other countries' estimates on how much the maintenance costs of these planes are going to be. We don't even know what the costs are going to be because they don't come with propulsion engines or weapon systems. Our mega jails, we've talked about that a little bit. We don't need US-style mega jails here. We need improvements in our system here. We've had the largest cabinet ever. We've got the largest Prime Minister's office ever. We've got the tightest muzzle on the members of the Conservative Party. On the fiscal front, Brian Mulroney left this country in financial ruin. It was the Liberals that got back and gave this Conservative government a $13 billion surplus that has been winnowed away. The Conservatives delay your pay and ensure big corporations. NDP pulled back their plans. Look at our plan. Take a look at it. It was developed by you and for you. Thank you.
Thank you all for your attention and attending here tonight and participating.